Hi, everybody. I hope that everyone's doing well. And I just wanted to come and share something that the Lord shared with me, with everyone else. I know that during this time, a lot of people are going through a lot of things. People are sick, people not necessarily with coronavirus. A lot of people have a lot of other issues going on, and just brings a lot of worry. And worry and being scared can also cause a physical illness, so much that it's on their mind and things like that. Also, I know that a lot of people are going through financial difficulties. A lot of people are going through issues with their spouses, with their children, with other family members. I guess especially being here in the United States, a lot of us are not used to being home all the time with our children and with our spouses, with other family members. Life is so fast here that we're so used to just going and not actually having this time. And even though we're 3, 4, almost 5 months in, it's still difficult, and for a lot of people it's not getting easier. And so in my time of worship today, I was just talking to God, and he was responding. And I really feel like I'm one of those people that carries burdens for others, to bring them to him, and to turn them into him for him to take care of. But I felt heavy to share this with everyone else. And so I wanted to share a few things with you guys today. So if you have a little bit of time, I encourage you to listen. And hopefully this word can be a blessing to you. And in Revelations 1:18, it says, "And the living one, I died, and behold, I am alive. Forevermore, I have the keys of death and Hades." And this thought and everything is that God has never lost a battle. He really hasn't. And I'm gonna share more about that with you. But if we go a little bit ahead, if we go to, I want to share this other version of the same verse. It's a different version. It's from the Amplified Bible, and it says in Revelations 1:17-18, it says, "When I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. And he placed his right hand on me and said, 'Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last,'" meaning the Son of God, "and the ever-living one, living in and beyond all time and space. I died, but see, I am alive forevermore. I have the keys and absolute control and victory over death and of Hades," which is the realm of dead. And that verse is just so powerful, because we know that Christ rose again. He beat death. He gave us the victory. He has the victory. He says that he has the keys. This version ahead, it says that he says that he has the keys. He has the keys to death, and he has the keys to Hades. If you have the keys to anything, you can turn it on and you can turn it off. You have complete control. And so I just thought that was really powerful. And I'm gonna share this story with you. I am sure that a lot of you guys know it, so I'm not gonna read the whole story because it would be extremely long, even though this is pretty long. But it says that we're talking about Elijah here, and it says, "After 3 years of drought and barren of the lands, God told Elijah to meet up with King Ahab. If he confronted the king, God said he would bring rain to the land." One small detail is that Ahab hated Elijah, but Elijah, he boldly called out the king, and he challenged him, and he told them to come to Mount Carmel with all of his false all of their false prophets. And the king with all his people, they met, and basically, I'm trying to make it short of actually what I wrote. But he says that Elijah told the king, "God has brought the drought because the people have turned from the one true God and worship Baal." When the people all gathered on Mount Carmel, Elijah asked them to choose which God they would serve. And Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal. And so this is one of the things that they did. And it says it asked them to place a bull on the altar and pray for Baal, their God, meaning their God, to set fire to the bull. And this was something they were going to do to see whose God was real. Like, they just thought that they can ask this God for anything, and that this God was going to, do anything they asked for. And that's why they were worshiping him. But in this case, Elijah's like, no, you guys turned your back on the one true God, the one that can do anything, the one that has the power to do anything in the world. And you guys are choosing to worship these fake gods. And that's so true about what's happening now in this time. In this time, so many people are choosing to worship fake gods because they're in the moment. They need in the moment, because like I mentioned before, so many people are going through so many things that they're looking for a quick fix. They're looking for something that's going to give them right now. They feel like they don't have the time to wait, or they feel like, I can't get through this one without X thing that's going to give them the resolution in this time right now, in this moment. And so we need to learn to if we're going to be with God, we're really going to stay with him. We need to stand firm in what we believe, knowing that he has never lost a battle, knowing that he is the one and only true God. And we need to learn that he is going to continue to do what he does best, which is he has the victory over everything. And so when we continue with the story, it says the prophets did as they were told. The prophets did as they. It says the prophets. They actually. So the people that were with the king, they did what Elijah told them to do, and it says that they. I believe this is in 1 Kings 18. I believe like around 25 or 26 or something like that. I didn't write down all the verses, but if you have a question, just message me and I'll be happy to share it with you. But it's the book of 1 Kings, I know for sure. And so anyways, these people did what they did, and they says that they cried out, and they started cutting themselves. They started doing all these things that are supposed to be sacrifices for this God, so that this God can set this bull on fire, so they can show Elijah, hey, we're not worshiping a fake God. We're worshiping a real God, that these prophets that are going to answer us, right? And so and you have to read the story, but they did it time and time again, and he just did. Obviously, the fake God didn't do what they thought he was going to do. And so Elijah started to get like impatient, and Elijah, it says that he was actually kind of rude, and he started to taunt them in a way. And it says that he kind of taunts them, saying like, oh, maybe you should pray louder. Maybe your God didn't hear you. And he says things like that, right? But if we go down to 1 Kings 18:36-39, I'm going to read it. And it says, at the time of the sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed. So now it's Elijah's turn to prove to them that our God is the one true God. And so again, it says that Elijah stepped forward and he prayed to the Lord. And he said, Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are the God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so those people will know you, Lord, and it says, know you are God, and that you are turning, and that you will know that, so that they can know that they are turning their backs against you. And it says, then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice. And he did all of these things before. He did like things that before, like he rebuilt the altar, and he did a bunch of other things before this, but I'm just kind of cutting it short. And it says that the fire fell. It says that the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked. And it says that it licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell and cried, the Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. And this story is incredible. You really have to read it, but it's incredible because sometimes we lack faith. We lack the faith, knowing that God is who he says he is. Knowing that if God said in Revelations, as we read before, in Revelations 1:17 and 18, he says that I have the keys and absolute control and victory over death and Hades. I think that death is the one thing. I mean, I think that we can have a lot of issues in our lives and all these things, and maybe we can find a quick fix. Maybe we can find something that fixes it without offending God. But when we talk about death, and and there can be lots of different kinds of deaths, right? There can be a physical death, there can be a spiritual death, there could be a death. I've heard a lot of people that are battling depression say, I'm dead. I'm dead inside. I'm here, but I'm not living. I'm alive, but I'm not living. And so we can have death in a lot of ways. And so the fact that we forget that God has won death over. He has the absolute keys to turn on. He has the absolute keys. He has the keys to turn it on. He has the keys to turn it off. He has the key to everything. I think that's the one thing that people fear the most is death. And again, it can be death in any kind of way. And the fact that God has the keys to turn it on, to turn it off, to say when, to say yes, and to say no, as Elijah proved to these people, hey, you guys are worshiping these fake gods. You guys are turning your back on God. This is not the time to turn your back on God. God has been there for you. He has done everything that he has promised that he's going to do, and he will continue to do what he has promised that he's going to do. We just need to have faith and stand firm in our salvation, knowing that God is going to do it, not on our time, but on his time, because his time is perfect. He doesn't live in our time. And remember, I think it was in 18, and it says, and the ever living one, living in and beyond all time and space. God's time are not as our time. God's time is Kairos time. It's a different time than our kind of time. And his timing is perfect. If he's not answering you right now, do not be discouraged. He is going to answer when it is correct. Maybe with the response that we're not ready for. Maybe with the response that we don't agree with. But knowing and standing firm in our salvation, we will have the guaranteed answer and the guaranteed solution to whatever issue you're going through. It may not be the solution that you want, but it is the correct solution if God has sent it. And so I want to share in 2 Chronicles 20:17, and I think this is the English Standard Version, and it says, you will not need to fight in this battle. Stand firm. Hold your position and see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf. O Judah and Jerusalem, do not be afraid and do not be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them and the Lord will be with you. And so the Lord says, you need to stand firm and hold your position in your salvation. You need to hold your position and stand firm and hold your position. As I said before, you need to stand firm in what the Lord has told you. You need to stand firm knowing that you are believing, standing firm in your salvation that he has given you when he died on the cross for you and he resurrected again, promising that he's going to come for us. Do not be discouraged. And then look, it says in Exodus 14:13, also English Standard Version, it says, and Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm. Again, this is a different book. This is a different book of the Bible, a different verse. And it says again, fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. And so it was a promise that God has given you. And in this book, he had given it to Moses, saying, fear not, stand firm in your salvation, stand firm in what the Lord has promised you, stand firm in what the Lord has told you, stand firm in his word, and he will give you the victory on his time when it is the right time. And look at it, says he says that the battle is not ours. It says the battle is his. We need to learn how to give our battles to him so that he can take care of our battles for us. And it says, which he will work for you today. The Lord, who is the Lord of all lords, he's the King of all kings, has decided that he's gonna work for you. Imagine how that works. It should be us working for him, but he says, I am going to work for you today. He says, for the Egyptians who you see today, meaning the battle that you see today, meaning the enemy that you see today, meaning the problem that you see today, you will no longer see after today. It says, for the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. If you stand firm and see salvation, if you stand firm and see salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today, you will never see these Egyptians again. You need to learn how to stand firm. We need to learn how to stand firm. We need to learn how to, and to see the salvation. We need to not only say I am saved and that's it. We need to see the salvation. We need to feel the salvation. We need to live in our salvation. And sharing one more thing with you guys, in Deuteronomy 31:8, and I believe this is the New International Version, it says, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The Lord himself goes before you. The Lord decides that he's going to go before you and he will be with you. He will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. I'm telling you today, do not be afraid and do not be discouraged, because the Lord decides that he's going to go before you. The Lord decides that he's going to be with you. The Lord decides that he's never going to leave you and he's not going to betray you. He's the one person that you can count on. Unfortunately, we're all sinners. And there's people will betray you. People will betray you. Your family will betray you. Your spouse will betray you. But who will never, ever, ever betray you will be the Lord. He says, he promises, he says he will never leave you nor forsake you. So even if the response is not a response that you are asking for, remember that he says he's never going to forsake you. So if he's giving you that response, if he's giving you that answer, it's for a reason and it's for your good, because the Bible also says, I have plans of good for you, not plans of bad. I have plans of good. He says that he has plans of good for you. So I just wanted to share that to you today, and I wanted to share this with you today and say, God has never lost a battle. He has never lost a battle. And he will never, ever, ever lose a battle. So know that if you stand firm in your salvation and you give your problems to him, if you bring all anxiousness again to his feet, if you bring all worriness to his feet, if you bring all depression, if you bring all necessity, anything that you need, if you bring it to his feet, in prayer and speaking to him and having a conversation with him, anything that you bring to his feet at the right time, he will respond, and he will respond with the correct answer, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. So do not be afraid. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. I wish I could just go more and more, but I've already gone almost 20 minutes in, and so I just want to share this with you guys. God has never, ever, ever lost a battle. He's never lost a battle. So remember that. If you stand firm in your salvation, with him before you, him behind you, him with you, him never going to leave you, and him never going to forsake you, you either will never lose a battle. Because it's for him to fight, not for us. We want to fight things in our own strength when it's not for us to fight in our own strength. It's for him to fight. So let's at this time give all of those our worries to the Lord. And I plan to be praying for people who feel like they have that need. So if you have that need, feel free to send me a message, and I will be praying for you. I will be praying for you. God bless all of you. I pray that everyone is doing well. I pray that you give all of your needs to the Lord. Bring it before his feet. God is God. God is who he says he is. And he says, I am going to take care of you. I, who have never lost a battle. I, who have the keys to death. I, who have the keys to Hades. I, who have never lost a battle. I, who descended the fire and consumed everything when everyone else thought that this other things were going to give them the answers that they were expecting, that they were going to get what they needed from these false gods, and they didn't. I gave the response, and I proved to everyone that I am the Lord. I am God. I am Lord. And God has nothing to prove to us. He already died on the cross for us. But he decided, I'm going to prove something to you guys. and I'm going to show you that I am Lord. So let's bless his name, and let's give everything that we have to him. And it's a practice. It is a practice to constantly remember, like, it's not my battle. It's not my battle. It's not my battle. It's a battle that I need to give to the Lord. So we need to learn how to give to the Lord our battle, and do it constantly, so that it becomes something that you do automatically. And I don't want it to become a custom, like, oh, I'm just going to give it to the Lord, because there are things that we have to do. It says that we need to stand firm, and it says that we need to see our salvation. So don't think that, oh, I can just give it to him and that's it. No, you need to stand firm, and you need to be and see your salvation when you give him these things. But he says that I have the keys, and I can overcome anything. And he is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. And he says, I will be with you. So do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. We bless you all.